My name is Jack McMahon. I work in the R.A.G.E. It's about 8 years here now on Fade Street. Started off as just a humble record store, and then the owner who set it up had a passion for old school video games, and so he slowly introduced a couple of second-hand retro games into the store to go along with the second-hand records. And then fast forward a couple of years and it's like pretty much the biggest retro game store in Dublin for sure. Anyway, born in the 80s, grew up in the 90s, games would have been pretty much the main thing that I was interested in when I was a kid, and most of my friends, or whatever console they had, kind of determined how close they were to me, kind of thing. Yeah, or games. And most of my relationships with my friends would have been very based on like Super Nintendo sessions or PlayStation sessions. So it's definitely an interesting, cool place to work, considering the kind of the items that pass through. I was a big Street Fighter fan because I used to live near Chipper and I had a Street Fighter cabinet, and one time a friend of mine bet the local bully hardman guy at Street Fighter, and it was just a triumphant moment, and he was a complete wimp, but the big strong lad lost in the game of Street Fighter, and it was like a weird kind of victory for us. Other games kind of, they don't age as well when you go back and play them with Street Fighter. As long as you're playing with somebody who's of an equal level or better than you, it's amazing. No, I think there's two kind of approaches to, thinking about why people love it. I think one is because it reminds them of happy, carefree times before they were adults, and this kind of a nice, nostalgic kind of warmth to playing something you used to play, and it brings you back. But there's also another school of thought with it, is that the games are actually excellent. Some of them are, it's down to taste really, but I think it's half nostalgia and half the fact that the games are actually brilliant. I used to get the multi-taps and play like 4-player ISS on the PlayStation, and just a lot of the reason why I still like games and why I kind of respect gaming and don't think it's as much of a waste of time as, let's say, watching Netflix, is because there's a social element to it. If you're playing with somebody, like a 2-player game, you're interacting with another human, whereas if you're watching a movie with someone, you're not allowed to talk to them. You know what I mean? There's no real dynamic, you're just watching it and that's it. Whereas if you're playing a game with somebody, it can evoke anger, joy, whatever. You can have like kind of a cool experience with that person, or 3 other people, or 4 other people, depending on the game. So I think that's a big plus for gaming in my book. This is a music store as well as a game store. It's actually, there are more items of music for sale here than there are items of retro gaming. We have like a whole floor which is purely devoted to vinyl sales. So we sell vinyl records and players and the actual wax itself. We support local artists as well. If like a band pumps any album out, bring it into us and we'll happily sell it for them. We have started selling Polaroid cameras and Polaroid film, so we have a huge range of vintage and some brand new ones as well, and all the different films. So it's kind of ties in well. It's a nice addition to the vinyl and the all games, and kind of like the Game Boy of the camera world. Everyone who works here loves working here. It's like a kind of a crew, so hopefully that spills through to the customer experience, and we just try our best to be nice and make people want to come back, whether they spend money or not. It's grand. They're welcome to come and hang out and look at stuff, but it's it's very important for me anyway, and for I think the philosophy of the R.A.G.E. is to like make the place a nice place to come and just check out all the cool stuff and hopefully buy something, and if not, it's grand.
Streets, original Power Radio.